Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today I'm going to answer your questions. I put out a request for questions on a video last week, and today I'm going to answer them. This is the Stuff and Things Q&A. We've sort of done this in the past in different Sunday smokes, but I thought we should have a special episode because I keep getting a lot of the same questions over and over, and for new subscribers, new viewers, I thought it would be worth it to try to answer some of these questions again, and I also got a lot of new questions. I'm speaking kind of fast because I got a lot of questions. Over 150, I'm going to try to get through as many as humanly possible in the time allotted, which could go on forever. I don't know. This is going to be long. It's going to be informative. So sit down, strap in, and get ready. Here we go. First question. If money were no object, this is from Lunchy83. If money were no object, what would be your dream fountain pen? That's a tough one. I would probably like to experience some of the sort of, I don't know, the quintessential fountain pens, some of the flagship pens, a Mont Blanc 149 perhaps, or you know, maybe some of the Pelicans, like an 800 or something like that. I haven't really given it a lot of thought because I don't think, to me, it's hard to justify spending, you know, $500 on a pen. In as much as I enjoy them, as much as I'm sure I would appreciate having a pen like that. But yeah, maybe a Mont Blanc 149 or a Pelican 800, something like that. This is from Ronald Briniger. Hello, Bradley. I like your channel very much. What are your thoughts about inhaling pipe tobacco or pipe smoke? I don't do it. I don't recommend it, but I'm not going to stop anyone or try to stop anyone from doing it. I think, like cigars, pipe smoking is better enjoyed by tasting, imbibing. Well, I guess imbibing would suggest that you're inhaling it. To me, I think one of the benefits of pipe smoking, as in opposition to other forms of enjoying tobacco, I guess, is the fact that you're not taking smoke into your lungs. I used to smoke cigarettes and I quit, and I have experienced a great increase in my just general physical feelings. I feel better. And it's been years now since I smoked cigarettes, but there's definitely been an improvement. And I think taking particulate matter into your lungs on a daily basis probably isn't the best thing for you. So pipe smoking, to me, it's something that's a hobby. It's something I enjoy, and I like the fact that I can just take it or leave it. If I get sick or something and I can't smoke for several days, I'm not jonesing for the nicotine, because even though you do get nicotine by taking it into your mouth, it's nowhere near as bad, or not even as bad, but it's nowhere near as pervasive as taking it into your lungs. I just prefer not inhaling, and I do not inhale. This is from Raymond Remillard. Have you heard about the Flat Earthers movement? It seems we're going back instead of forward with these myths. I have heard of that. I mean, what's there to say? It's ridiculous. There seem to be a lot of people who seem to try to just discount science these days. It's kind of odd. Whatever. If you think the Earth's flat, that's fine. You're wrong, but that's fine. This is from Jabaris. You dress very well. Are you a sock snob? As in, are you fine wearing Hanes, or are you the $12.99 pair of J. Crew, Banana Republic, etc. type? I'm not a sock snob. Socks and underwear are things that I rarely buy until they're full of holes, and then I'm finally forced to get rid of them. I'll go to a place like Target or something and buy like a giant pack of socks and or underwear. So no, I'm not a sock snob. This is from Ian Wilson. Will you do a review of Brown Flake? Samuel Gawith. Have I reviewed? I reviewed Brown Sugar Flake. I don't think I can't remember if I've done Brown Flake. If I haven't done it, I'll probably get to it eventually. Will you do a review of a cigar in comparison to pipe tobacco? Tyler Bledsoe. Maybe. I still don't really feel as though I have smoked cigars enough to really give a nuanced impression of what I think about a particular cigar, but I guess I could review something in relation to pipe tobacco. Something I'll keep in mind. This is from B Short. Have you tried Esoterica's Tilbury yet? Thoughts on it? I have not. Esoterica blends are pretty hard to get. I'm still trying to get my hands on Dunbar. I've had samples of it. I really liked it when I had it, but it's hard to get. All those blends are hard to get, so we'll see. Who's your favorite economist and why? Favorite craft beer? Any from Oregon? Thanks, Brad. I don't have a favorite economist necessarily. Haven't really delved into that. Favorite craft beer? I don't really drink very much. There are tons of microbrews around here. It's kind of the microbrew capital of the world, in my opinion. The Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland, Bellingham as well. There are at least 10 breweries just in the Bellingham area. For the most part, I don't like a lot of microbrews because they seem to only do IPAs or porters or dark beers, and I like a nice crisp lager. But they're hard to find, made by microbrews, because apparently they're harder to make. This is from Neville Smith. Hello, Bradley. I am your good friend, Neville. Love both the channels. Keep up the great work. Question, choose one. Thank you, Neville, by the way. Choose one, choose all. Up to you. Whatever happened to poor Phil the Pipe? Okay, whoa, this is a long one. Have you ever considered re-reviewing Dunhill Elizabethan? Can you give something? Please, Brucey's pipe. Phil has been retired. I haven't tried to fix him. He was a pipe that got burnt out because I left him unattended outside and a nice breeze blew up and burned him out. And would you ever consider re-reviewing Dunhill Elizabethan? Maybe. That was my very first tobacco review, so maybe if it is discontinued, maybe I'll do like a farewell review for Dunhill Elizabethan. We'll see. Let's see. Okay, this one is from Hazor001. Hello, Bradley. What do you do for a living? And what made you want to start a YouTube channel? The question, what do you do for a living, has been asked more times than I can count. It's been a question that I always avoided answering in the past because, especially when first starting this channel, I tried to avoid giving out too much personal information, not because I was particularly worried about anything, but just because I like to keep my private life separate from this public YouTube channel. Most people who know me personally don't even know that I have a YouTube channel. But because I've had this question asked so many times, and because it's been building up into this weird thing, it's become way more sort of important than it needs to be, I guess. I think it is time, at long last, to finally answer this question. I didn't answer it, again, like I said, because I wasn't giving out too much personal information, and then it became this thing that the longer I didn't answer the question, the more people wanted to know, and it built up and built up and built up, and then it became just kind of fun not to answer that question for some reason. But I don't care. It's not really something that I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm not proud of it. There's nothing weird surrounding that question other than the fact that it just became a thing on the channel that I didn't answer the question. So, at long last, here's what I do for a living. Ta-da! So there you go. I am a cement finisher, concrete contractor, whatever you want to call it. It's a family business. Been doing it for a while. I went to college for philosophy and fine art, but the family business keeps pulling me back in. And it's fine work. And you now know, I guess, why I talk about the weather all the time. It's because it affects me intimately. When it is rainy or crappy outside, I'm out in it. When it's hot, I'm out in it. When it's snowing and cold, I'm out in it. So the weather is super important to me. I always know what the weather forecast is going to be here locally. Not that they're ever right necessarily. I guess really all you have to do is say that it's going to rain and you'll be right 85% of the time. But there you go. I pour cement. Probably not what you were expecting, was it? Okay, next question. This is from Susan White. I was trying to smoke my pipe, but there's too much to get through here. If you could only use one fountain pen and one particular ink for the rest of your life, what would they be? Oh, that's a tough question. I'd probably go with my Lamy 2000. I really love this pen. It, just in all respects, the feel of it, the weight of it, the utility of it, the ink capacity, the way it fills. I love the nib on it. I actually might even go, I have a medium nib on this now. I might go for a fine nib, get another one and do a fine nib on that. But I just love just everything about it. I love the look of it. It's very classic. It's a great just everyday, all day kind of pen. I have other pens, like I have my Pilot 823, custom 823. I really love this pen as well, but it's not something that I would just write with for hours at a time. But the Lamy just is, it is that pen for me. And if I had to get rid of it, every other pen, I would probably choose to write with this one. And then for ink, I like a lot of the Ito Shizuku inks, the Pilot. If I had to pick one of those, maybe Tsukio, the sort of blue-black, is really pretty, but still kind of, masculine. But then I also like Yamabuda, which is almost a fuchsia in color. So probably between those two. And I guess probably Tsukio because it is more practical, I guess. Kind of an all-day, everyday sort of ink. Okay, this is from Grant's Dad 98. How's your dad doing? Thanks for asking, Grant. He's doing much better now. He's up and around. And now that I guess since I've revealed that I do concrete work in a family business, it's my dad's business. And for a while, since he wasn't around when he was injured, I kind of had to run everything myself. He's back now, and he's back to showing up at the job site and kind of irritating me on a daily basis, but that's a good thing because it means he's feeling better. Okay, Ian McDonald. This might be a long one. Almost 20,000 subs, man. Good job. Thanks, Ian. By the way, I know you said how hard keeping up with comments is, so that adds weight to this, I think, but your interaction with us makes your channel a lot more of a, I don't know, human experience as opposed to simply a one-way stream of content. It just seems more friendly, laid back, and nice. Great channels, both of them. Well, thank you, Ian. That wasn't a question, but I appreciate the sentiment. Hello, Bradley. Big fan of your channel. This is from Jonathan Arcieri. My question is, or Arcieri? Has your tobacco rotation evolved over the years? What tobaccos have come and gone? Which have stayed and which are new additions to your rotation? That's hard to answer because the fact that I'm constantly reviewing new blends means that I'm constantly pulling new blends. Thank you, motorcycles. I'm constantly pulling new blends into that rotation. There are certain constants. Dunhill Elizabethan is a constant. Some English blends sort of come in and out. Dunhill Standard is there a lot. I like Gawith. Squadron Leader is kind of a staple English, but Peterson Irish Flake, there's certain Burley blends, Solani Aged Burley Flake. For the most part, the main constant that I have is Dunhill Elizabethan, and then an ever-rotating just cavalcade of different blends that I'm going to be reviewing. This is from... Whoa, okay, those are a lot of questions here. We'll see what I can do here. This is Blake from Louisiana. Do you miss being in a band? Not particularly. Throughout my youth and even fairly recently, I've always loved music, been into music. I've always sung. I've always enjoyed singing, and I think I have an okay voice, and so that's always been something that I've liked to do. And being in bands and writing songs for those bands, I kind of taught myself to play guitar. Barely. I'm not a great guitarist, but enough that I could write a song and in a pinch play in the band and sing at the same time. It's always been a hobby, but it's never been something that I wanted to be in a band and do that as my career. So now it's just something that I enjoy on my own, and that's totally fine. It's fun to perform sometimes, but I guess I've always had a creative outlet, and now YouTube is kind of that, where I guess you could call this sort of a performance in a way as well. Do you keep up with your musical instruments, practice or otherwise? Not nearly as much as I should. It's this kind of thing that goes in phases, as are a lot of my hobbies, where there might be a month or two where I get really into playing guitar again. And it's always there, and it's always something that I come back to every once in a while, but it's not a daily thing. Most expensive hobby purchase to date? Probably guns. I spent several $1,000s on some guns. Let's see, favorite meal to make? I don't know. I eat the same thing almost every night. Chicken. This is from, oh God, this is not going to be an easy name to pronounce. Ewan Azluzuri. Azlirazurzi. Sorry, Ewan. Hey Bradley, hope you're having a good one. So, thank you, Ewan, I am. So about packing pipes, when do you 3-pinch and when do you do a frank? I do a frank when I have the room and surface to make a mess, because it's a very messy method of packing a pipe. I 3-pinch when I'm out and about and I don't have, a nice surface that I can scoop up all the tobacco that's gonna fly everywhere when I frank method it. This is from Bearded Piper 1978. Hey Bradley, I acquired an estate Savinelli. I'm thinking of trying to rusticate it and stain it myself. My question is, what do I use for the stain? I wouldn't think it was a regular furniture stain. Is it? I hope to hear from you. Thanks in advance. Awesome channel, by the way. Most pipes are stained with an alcohol-based stain. And so you can use a lot of stains meant for shoes, for leather shoes, because they're usually stained with alcohol. So that alcohol, you rub it in, it evaporates, and it leaves the stain behind. That being the case, you don't ever want to use rubbing alcohol to clean your pipes, because that will take the stain right off. So go to a shoe repair shop or something. You can get stains there, and they should work fine for you. This is from Alpha Gamma. Hello, Bradley. I have 2 questions. Have you ever tried using the Frank method followed by a pinch of tobacco on top to add an additional layer? I find that it allows for a more even burn. 2, if you had to sell most of your pipes and keep only one, which pipe would it be and why? Yeah, I've done that occasionally. Depends on how the packet that you get with the Frank method that you force in there. Sometimes it's still a little too loose depending on how much you were able to grab, how much tobacco fell by the wayside, so maybe I'll put a pinch on top occasionally. Sell most of your pipes and keep one. I'd probably keep my Dunhill. Oh, it's between my Dunhill and my Costello. They're both great. I love them both for different reasons. That'd be a tough one. I can't choose between the two. It's like choosing between your children. This is from Wade O. Wells. Are you still into knives? Is there a possibility of knife reviews in the future? Yes, but as is the case for many of my hobbies, I don't really collect anything. So I have knives and I always have a pocket knife on me and it kind of rotates, but I don't have a ton of knives and I don't see myself collecting a ton of knives. So when and if I acquire another one, I will probably review it. I still have that, is it Sherbakov, Russian sort of pseudo handmade custom knife that I need to review. I haven't gotten around to that yet, but yeah, I'm sure there will be more in the future. This is from Robert Weidman. I should probably have read these questions first before I went into these, but anyway, this is a long one again. Hey Bradley, I'm not sure if you would be interested in doing this, but I would be interested in seeing videos with you reviewing your music equipment, your guitar, amps, etc. I think that would make for some very interesting videos. I would also be curious about the equipment you use to make your YouTube videos on Stuff and Things, your mic, camera setup, etc. I'm sure to make videos have before 5 minutes content. Really enjoy the content. Thank you. Maybe. I've avoided music on the channel because that's just another thing. It seems like I'm already kind of scatterbrained with the content on here, but it's something other people have asked about, so maybe sometime in the future. A video on my YouTube equipment, the equipment I use to make videos, I could possibly do something like that. Basically, my whole setup is it's my attempt to make things as simple and quick as possible, and that doesn't always work, but yeah, I could maybe talk about the camera and mics and things like that. I think I've mentioned these things in the past, but maybe I'll do a specific video. This is from Mr. UG82. Being a previous cigarette smoker, what advice could you give to someone who smokes cigarettes and trying to have pipe smoking replace cigarettes? I really enjoy pipe smoking, but sometimes find it difficult to make time for a pipe, as it isn't as convenient or quick as a cigarette. Thanks. And what tobacco did you enjoy most before Elizabethan mixture? My advice is going to be useless to most people because I did not wean myself off of cigarettes by smoking a pipe. I just quit cigarettes cold turkey, did not use any sort of nicotine replacement whatsoever for about 3 months, and didn't really have a problem doing it. And I know that's not the case for most people. My thinking at the time was that I didn't feel as though I were as addicted to nicotine as a lot of people who smoke cigarettes seem to be. And so I thought it would be fairly easy for me to just stop smoking cigarettes cold turkey. And I wanted to prove to myself that I didn't need the nicotine. And as much as I enjoy tobacco, I like tobacco. It's a nice, flavorful, aromatic, delicious tasting smoke. I didn't want to feel that I needed the nicotine. So I just quit, and it wasn't hard. It wasn't that hard. It was more the oral thing for me, like having something to do, having something to fiddle with all the time. So I got a bunch of like dum-dum suckers and just sucked on those for a while, and that kind of cured me. It helped. And for maybe like a week, I was slightly on edge, and then it was fine. Didn't have any nicotine for like 3 months, and then I slowly, thinking that I miss the relaxation and kind of taking yourself out of the day that, you know, a cigarette break could give you. And because I had sort of smoked a pipe off and on since I was 18, I slowly started smoking pipes again, and there you go. But yeah, I just quit cold turkey and didn't have any nicotine replacement. So I can't really give you advice on how to use pipes to wean yourself off of cigarettes. This is from Brian Olson. Hey Brian. Hey Bradley, I want to get into pipe smoking, but I fear that people will lump me in with cigarette smokers and treat me with the same stigma. Any advice on getting past the initial hump and avoiding future stigma? You know, really it's more about your attitude and what you project to other people. And I have found that in general, people are a lot more people are a lot less judgmental towards pipe smokers, I think, because it has kind of this quaint sort of feel to it. I definitely would get dirty looks for smoking cigarettes out in public in the past, and now you're not allowed to do that anywhere. But now I find that if I do have my pipe out and about with me, if I'm walking around, people are slightly more either just downright friendly and kind of interested, or they're just sort of bemused. They don't seem to have the same hatred for pipe smoking. So just be confident in yourself. Don't go and force it on people. Don't sidle up to someone on a bench and just start puffing away and blowing your smoke all over them. But don't be retiring and shy, and don't act self-conscious about it, and people won't project that on you. That's my advice. Okay, moving on. This is from Wanderlust. I missed the Universal Yums videos. Will we be getting any more? How about some knife reviews? Already kind of answered that. Keep up the good work. As far as I know, I haven't heard anything from Universal Yums, so I'm assuming I'm not getting any more packages from them. It was based upon how many people were subscribing to the service through the link that I provided in my video descriptions. And from what I could see, and from the payouts I was getting, there were plenty of people subscribing to the service, but they stopped sending boxes, and I never got any more communication from them. So either they just stopped doing that, maybe they didn't find it economically viable anymore, or for some reason they just decided that they didn't want to send me any more boxes. It was fine. I enjoyed the series, and people seemed to like it. The last video in particular got quite a few views, but whatever, I'm fine with it. Let's see, Cheesy Bacon. Somewhat related to other questions concerning cigarettes, how badly are you addicted to smoking? Is it mostly psychological in nature, or is there a decidedly physical aspect to it that kicks in after a certain amount of time has elapsed? Do you think it would be different, better, worse if you went straight into pipe smoking without any prior experience as a cigarette smoker? Ever contemplated quitting someday? Well, I did quit cigarettes years ago, and I don't feel at all addicted physically to pipes. Like I just mentioned in a previous answer, I could go any length of time without smoking a pipe, it's fine. So yeah, I'm not sure if he thinks that I'm still smoking cigarettes or not, but I don't. And with me, I think it was more of a kind of a habitual psychological thing as opposed to a physical thing, but I'm sure it's different for everybody. This is from Iarevello 94. What did you major in college? Philosophy and fine art. Kenneth Fox. What do you do for a living? I answered that. Cheesy Bacon, again, I already answered one of yours, so I'm gonna have to move on. We have a lot to go, a lot to get through here. Cheesy Bacon has another question here. Got quite a few here. Has pipe smoking ever helped you score with the ladies? No, not that I can think of. If anything, women are more just kind of bemused and think it's a weird thing to do. Any other notable positive or negative interactions with the public due to pipe smoking? Ever harshly admonished someone like condescending? I have never harshly admonished someone while condescendingly gesticulating with my pipe, which would be fun though. What the hell do you think you're doing? I have had positive interactions when smoking a pipe. One that comes to mind is there was a woman with her child walking behind me while I was smoking a pipe, walking in front of them, and I heard the little boy say, "What's he doing?" And the mother say, "He's smoking a pipe, dear," and then she smiled at me, which would never have occurred if I were smoking a cigarette. Nick D, how come you do not do box openings anymore? There's no prohibition on the channel against box openings, I just haven't done one. I don't know why. I'm sure I'll do more in the future. Dr. Graybo, do you break your no aromatic tendency to smoke some of the flavored seasonal blends made around Christmas or St. Patrick's Day? Not really. I just usually hate almost every aromatic tobacco. Alfred Begg, in your opinion, what is the spiciest meme? I don't know. I'm always completely unaware of almost every meme that's going on the internet. Matt S, have you done any traveling within the United States, for instance, anywhere in the East Coast? I'm from New Jersey, but have been as far as Seattle. Loved it. Yeah, I've lived in other places in the US and I've journeyed not much to the East Coast, but I did go to New York once, spent some time there visiting friends, enjoyed that, was mostly in Manhattan, really liked it. Don't know if I'd want to live there, but I really enjoyed my time there. I've lived in Oklahoma, I've lived in California, I've lived in Oregon, so mostly around the West Coast and the Southwest. But yeah, it's a big country. Let's see, this is Brett Bricker. Hey Bradley, I appreciate your challenge quite a bit, and it has introduced, I think he means channel, and it has introduced me into areas that I might not have explored before, certain types of tobacco, fountain pens. Seriously, thank you, fine leatherwork. No problem, thanks for watching. I have heard you say in the past that you have many hobbies besides music, pipes, knives, and firearms and gaming. What are some of the other hobbies you enjoy? Thanks for your time. I've always enjoyed art, painting, drawing, things like that. I like writing a lot. Filmography, not filmography, I guess you could call it filmography, making films. I took a lot of film classes in college, things like that. Cheesy bacon, another question. I'm gonna have to go to someone else. I'm sorry, there's just too many. This is from The Base Bones. Hi Bradley, after almost 3 years of YouTubing, have you noticed any personal character changes? For example, are you more open now about things? Do you feel less awkward? I hope you understand what I mean to say. Keep up the good work, love your videos. No, I don't think so. I've always been really comfortable with public speaking, with being in front of people, even though, I'm recording a video by myself, talking to a camera. I think you still see a lot of people who try to do YouTube videos and they seem very shy and awkward when they're trying to speak to the camera. I've never had an issue with that. I did acting in college. I've been in bands where I've been on stage. I'm fine with it. So not really. I don't think anything has particularly changed. Sorry if that's a boring answer. This is hard to read. Ed Locker. You obviously have the personality of an entertainer. Have you ever considered a career in television? Not really. I dabbled in acting and stuff in college, but no, I guess not. Not really. I do like creating content though. So maybe that is entertainment. I hope this is entertaining. Let's see. There's another cheesy bacon one. You don't seem like the kind of person who gets hogged up much. I guess drunk. But when you do, what is your favorite liquid poison? I definitely had periods in my life when I did drink more than I do now. But yeah, I hardly ever drink now. Never drink when I'm alone. Never drink at home really at all, unless I have someone over and they want to have a drink. I've had the same bottle of tequila on my shelf for like a year and a half now, I think. But I don't know, if I go out with friends, I usually stick to beer, maybe some whiskey as well, but I'm never trying to get drunk. So, and I don't really like alcohol that much. So probably just beer, like a nice crisp lager. I notice you often wear wristbands. What are your favorites? By Kyle Kevion. Kevion? I wear a lot of Adidas wristbands, I guess. Lately I've been wearing this wristband, which is actually because of my wrist injury. But yeah, Adidas. For sportswear, I usually wear Adidas or Adidas if you live in Europe. Let's see. What do you do for a living? We have answered that. Tom Lupo, have you ever gone to New Orleans for Mardi Gras? I have not. That might be fun sometime. Brandon Knoll, what is your occupation? Oh, everyone's asking that question. Thank God I finally answered it. Maybe we can put that to bed. DSG Pipe Smoker. What are your favorite YouTube channels for pipe smoking, gaming, firearm shooting, and fountain pens? Pipe smoking, I don't watch a lot of kind of the bigger channels. It's more just people I sort of have interacted with personally. I used to watch, I watch Colin Kelly when he posts videos. He's a good guy that I've communicated with. There's some people who don't really post anymore. Used to watch Dan the Smoking Man. I'm trying to think of other people. I'll watch some Matches 860 or 860 occasionally. Sometimes I watch some Northwest Pipe Smoker. It just depends. Gaming. I watch some Game Grumps occasionally. Sometimes Jacksepticeye, occasionally PewDiePie. But it's mostly like game journalist websites like GameSpot and Game Informer. Used to watch some kind of funny stuff. It depends. It's usually more about a particular game than it is a particular channel. Firearm shooting, not a ton of channels I follow with that, but I like, Hickok 1940, or what is it? Hickok 1945. Or no, just Hickok 45. Yeah, Hickok. I watch him sometimes. Fountain pens, I watch a lot of the Goulet pen stuff. SBRE Brown, the ones that I'm sure you've seen as well. Let's see, this is from Gotham City Smoker. I've always been curious how you smoke in an apartment building without getting complaints from neighbors. Do you have a strategy for airflow? Any tricks for keeping the smell of a lot of key from making your neighbors think something's on fire? Cheers. I do not smoke in my apartment building. People have mentioned many times in the past, like, why don't you have the same background that you had before? Why do you always have this blue background when you're smoking a pipe? At the very beginning of my channel, I did smoke in my apartment, but then and it was allowed at the time. It is no longer allowed, and I don't break those rules anymore, and it's been a long time since it's been allowed. I have a studio. The Stuff and Things studio is where I do my pipe smoking videos. If you see things that are not pipe smoking related, if I'm not smoking, then I'm actually in my apartment. The studio is close to my apartment though. But when I have smoked in a place in which I lived, that's a very awkward way of putting it. Yeah, it's about airflow. It's about circulating the air. If you just sit there in a hot box and inundate it with smoke all day, obviously it's going to smell like smoke all the time. But if you expel that smoke, you get some nice cross airflow going. It's not a big issue. Rita Cool, what do you do with your empty tins? I keep one of every tin I've ever smoked, and it's just in a cupboard. I don't know if I'm ever going to do anything with them someday. I'll probably just end up throwing them out at some point, but I do like to keep one of every tin. This is Matthew Beto. Hi, Brad. I'm curious about your band playing days. Could you elaborate? I don't know. I could get into some stories, I guess, but yeah, I've been in several bands throughout my lifetime. When I lived in LA, I was in some kind of regularly gigging bands. None that you would have ever heard of. In Bellingham as well, I played bands, played some shows in Seattle, played a lot of shows in Bellingham. I don't know, there's not much to say. It was a fun pastime. Never was in a band I was never in a band that I would have really loved if I hadn't been in the band, if you know what I mean. So I've contributed, usually wrote lyrics, was always the singer, sometimes wrote whole songs for the bands, but it was always collaborative. And I guess if I were ever to be in a band again, I would want to be the sole songwriter. But it's always fun. Bands are hard. Bands are as hard as any relationship, but then you have to multiply that by several people, and you have to get everyone to get along and everyone to have the same vision. And if you're not trying to make it, then maybe that takes some of the pressure off, but then in other ways it can be almost more difficult because you don't have the shared goal. You're just there to play music and have fun. And then some people have varying degrees of professionalism, and I don't know. Bands are good though. Be in a band if you want to be. Let's see. This is Constantine K. What music do you like? I like all sorts of stuff, but I guess my butter zone is a lot of British post-punk. I also like a lot of 60s British stuff. The Kinks, the Small Faces, the Beatles, the Who, Rolling Stones, and then post-punk stuff. I like the Buzzcocks, the Clash, a little bit of Joy Division, New Order. Modern stuff. I've never really liked most popular music throughout my life. There was a brief period when I was in 7th grade when I used to listen to Top 40 for a very brief time. And for the most part though, I don't know any popular music. I don't listen to any popular music. I never really have. I love the Cribs. I've always loved the Strokes, stuff like that. Some hip hop stuff, not much. Don't really like country. Don't like most things that are popular now, EDM, dubstep, don't really like any of that. Summary of your life up till now, oh my God, that would be probably really long and really boring. Tuomas, Alto, what's the next pipe you would like to buy? Any plans yet? I've always wanted to get an older Ashton, so maybe one that was made in the 90s or later 80s, that would be cool. Have you ever smoked ganja? If not, why not? By David James. Sure, I've had pot occasionally. Haven't smoked it in quite a long time. I'm trying to think of the last time. In spite of the fact that it's legal here in Washington, I've never been a huge fan. I don't mind other people smoking it. Don't really have any judgment towards that, but it's just never something I've enjoyed. Drugs in particular just don't really do anything for me. Let's see. Alperine Hatipoglu. Aterine Hatipoglu. Are you waiting the new Mount and Blade game like us? I've seen previews of that, but I don't know. It seems interesting, but I'm not, feverishly anticipating it. Smiley Bone. Hi, Bradley. I'm curious to get your opinion on vaping e-cigs. Do you think this will eventually replace the traditional tobacco consumption? I enjoy your vids. Keep up the good work. I have no real feeling about them other than if people who are anti-smoking were actually for harm reduction, then they wouldn't be trying to tax e-cigarettes the way they are now. In Washington, there's a proposal to tax vaping and e-cigarettes the same way that tobacco products are taxed. And so it's this bullshit hypocrisy that always comes through where they claim that the taxes on cigarettes are to prevent people from smoking, when in reality it's just a method of getting revenue. And then when people stop smoking and start vaping, which even though there's been some debate, it is obviously, there's no doctor who's going to tell you that vaping is not less harmful to you than cigarettes are. You would think they would love that, but no, now they're not getting enough revenue from cigarettes, so now they want to tax vaping. It's ridiculous. It's a bunch of hypocrisy. It's a bunch of crap. Skylar P. I may be paraphrasing, but you said that pipe smoking helped you quit cigarettes. Could you elaborate more on that? Also, what were other factors that helped? Moral support, mental fortitude, cold turkey. So I've kind of addressed this already. Pipe smoking did not help me quit cigarettes. I just quit cigarettes cold turkey for several months. How long would a pack last you during your harness? What brand did you smoke? I was about a pack a day at my height, but that varied depending on if I was going out or doing something. And I always smoked Camel Lights at the time. What do you do for a living? Answered that. Small ears. If you had to choose just one pipe tobacco for the rest of your smoking days, what would it be? But Christoph Kobelars already answered that question. Elizabethan. Broken Pipe 86. Are you watching any movie shows lately? Not really. I don't really have a show going at the moment. I've been watching a lot of reruns of Top Gear on Amazon Prime. I would just find that show amusing. Since I've seen guitars and an amp in your videos before, I'm wondering what kind of music you play. Maybe show off your favorite lick by Janice H. Music. Like I mentioned, if I'm left to my own devices, I play a lot of poppy, but kind of post-punky sorts of stuff. Melodic, vocal-driven. Or if I'm playing acoustic guitar, you could almost call it folky in a way, but I guess more in the indie alt sort of genre. Another one asking about my profession. Sejdar, you do a lot of comments, my friend. I appreciate you. Where is Steph and what happened to the Yum Yum box openings? I already answered the Yum Yum thing. Steph, she's around. She was supposed to borrow a card table from me today, but then I had to use it for making videos, and so I think she had to buy one herself. We're friends. I see her every once in a while. People always assume if you have a girl in your video that you must be dating that person. Steph and I were not dating in any of those videos. We did date in the past, but we've been friends for years and years now. But she's very busy. I'm usually very busy. We see each other occasionally. She's supposed to come and play some Switch with me at some point. Bona Piper, is the song that is used as an intro in your tobacco reviews available anywhere for sale? I believe it's you and your band that we hear singing and playing. Very well done. Thank you, sir. No, it's not, and it probably will not ever be. I don't know why. It's just, I don't see any reason to make it available. It's not good enough, and some people might disagree with that, but it was mastered, but not mastered as well as I would like it to be mastered, so it's not ready for public consumption. Henrik Sjosted. I'm sorry, I'm butchering so many of these names. Hi, Brad. I would like to know what are the different smoking qualities in different styles of pipes, ranging from the elephant's foot to the horn, or what's the difference between a wide bowl versus a narrow? I think sometimes too much is made of this. There are differences you will notice with a really wide, shallow bowl or a really narrow bowl. And I think the main difference you'll find in pipes is the draft. If you have a really open draft as opposed to a really narrow draft, also the placement of the draft hole in the bowl, those are the things that are going to affect your smoke more than the actual shape of the bowl. In my opinion, there will be a difference with the shape of the bowl, but it's more about the draft hole and the placement of the draft hole. A lot of people say that like a tall, narrow bowl is good for flakes. I've kind of noticed that, but I wouldn't say that it's enough of a difference to make me say I will only smoke flakes in this one particular pipe. Let's see, this is from Smokin' Woodchucks. Hope you keep hitting. What do you do for a living? We answer that. Don't have to get approval from anyone. Some folks, unfortunately, thank you, Bradley, for just being you. Well, thank you, sir. What subject do you advise people to major in university? Whatever you want, whatever you think is going to let you have a career. I majored in something that had pretty much no practical application unless you decided to teach. So maybe don't do that unless it's something that's your passion. If you're going to college just because you're going to college and that's what people are supposed to do now, I'm not a fan of that anymore because a college education basically doesn't mean anything anymore. It just means that you can follow directions, basically. It used to be something that, it used to mean more, I think, in the past, and now it's just an extension of high school. But if you are really passionate about something, it could be worth going to college, and especially if it's a trade and you have to learn the trade. If it's just liberal arts, there's nothing wrong with learning, I suppose, with broadening your horizons, exposing yourself to different subjects. One issue I have, and even when I was in college, is there is a massive amount of indoctrination going on in college, and it seems like our college campuses are some of the most intolerant, violent places in the country right now, so you have to kind of prepare yourself for that. Let's see. This is from Laird of Glencoe. How is your Kaweco brass sport aged? Does it have an interesting patina, or do you polish it? It's aged very cool, very coolly, very interestingly. It looks good. Brass, it's raw brass, being exposed to the oils and just the moisture in your fingers, the air. It's gotten a cool patina on it. I don't have it on me right now to show you, but I haven't tried to polish it or anything. Let's see, this is Ruskox. Oh wow, this is long. Let's see. Thank you for your content. Thank you for watching. Specifically about you mentioned that you were sure about other series. I don't know if you really enjoyed. Okay, so you mentioned that I liked the Aubrey and Matern series by O'Brien, and you'd be interested to hear about any other series or standalone novels you have really enjoyed. Look into Gene Wolfe, W-O-L-F-E, The Book of the New Sun. I think it's one of the best speculative fiction books I've ever read, or series. Anthony Bertov. Hi, Bradley. I have several questions. What do you think about church wardens? I understand why people like them. I understand there's a sort of aesthetic to them that people enjoy. I don't find them very practical to have a very long-stemmed pipe when I'm smoking. I don't own any. I don't really want to own any, but I don't have anything against people who do. Let's see. What kind of reading do you prefer? See last answer. Hi Bradley, enjoyed your review of Frogmorton Cellar. Would you consider reviewing some of the other Frogmorton blends? Sure. Yeah, I'd consider that. Jack Gillespie, have you ever considered reviewing any of the Kramer blends? They can be purchased from Smoking Pipes. How's your DAW? Are you ever going to finish Fallout 4? Yeah, the Kramer blends have kind of been on my radar, and I might get to them eventually. My Dad is Good, as I mentioned, and Fallout 4, maybe, but maybe not on camera. I don't know. A game like that, I just started not enjoying it when I was making the videos on it, because it's hard to play the way I want to play when I'm trying to record gameplay, but we'll see. Colossal Squid, when is the next Universal Yums video? We got that one. Far East, are you a lawyer? No. We've answered that now. Have you ever been to Southeast Asia? No, but I would love to go. I'd love to go to Japan. I'd love to go to Vietnam. I'd love to go to Korea, which isn't really, none of these are Southeast Asia. Vietnam, Southeast Asia, I guess. But I would like to go to East Asia in general, and Southeast Asia as well would be cool. Can you tell us about your tattoos? There was a Sunday Smoke in which I talked about my tattoos. I think it's called like Misanthropy or something like that is in the title. You can find that. Would you prefer a lifetime supply of Elizabethan mixture or a lifetime supply of gasoline? Bo the Bard. Well, I'd probably say Elizabethan if it's going to go off the market, because gasoline I'm presuming I'll always be able to get. Have you ever planned on visiting my wonderful homeland of Australia? I would love that. I'd gladly host you and anyone else that may tag along if you visit Perth on the West Coast. I've always thought it would be really cool to go to Australia. There are other places I'd probably put over that, just because, Japan especially, because I took Japanese in college and I have kind of an affinity for the culture. I'm not a weeaboo, but I would like to practice Japanese. That would be kind of fun. How much of your life is taken up with YouTube? Are you monetized? Any plans to go full time? By Defiant Pipes. A great deal of my life is taken up with YouTube, more than you would probably credit. I am monetized, but you know, you have to have millions of views in order to actually make a living solely off of YouTube. And I have enough. I get a little bit of money, but a very little bit of money. And any plans to go full time? I would love to do that, but again, I would have to build these channels into much larger channels than they are right now. This is Paul the Scandinavian, another very loyal viewer. Hi Brad. Okay, my specific question is transport related. The very state you currently reside in is presumably, okay, so I know Paul speaks English as a second language, so I'm gonna make this out as best I can. It's presumably Washington, so do you have annual government transport taxes to pay for the use of personal vehicles? And if so, how much is the minimum fee per car? Yet, blah, blah, blah. Are you obliged to have prior to driving to the public roads? We do have licensing fees, and those are what pay for roads and things like that. So when you renew your vehicle tabs every year, you pay a licensing fee, and that goes towards the road upkeep. And it varies depending on the kind of vehicle you have. The smaller car you have, it's less money. If you have a bigger truck, it's more money. Okay, my battery is about to run out. There are still many questions to get to. We may have to do a part 2 next week, guys. We'll see, but thank you guys so much for watching, all of you. Thank you so much for submitting questions. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question yet, but maybe we will do a part 2 next week. Stay tuned, I'll probably announce that on the next Sunday Smoke. But before my battery runs out, I will just say thank you so much for watching. I've been your good friend Bradley, you've been the audience of Business Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.